How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Enclave. So I'm sure you will potentially notice that things look a little bit different. We have upgraded the camera we're using to record up to a 4K 60 FPS camera. So especially when it comes time to get down to the range and things like that, we're going to get much better quality. We're obviously going to be able to do more with that footage, etc. But we also have microphones and things that unfortunately have compatibility issues with the new camera. So we've got adapters and things on the way to make sure that that is all 100%. So hopefully by the next video we will have much better audio quality to go along with the new upgraded video quality. But anyway, that all being said, let's get into today's topic, which has to do with why you're not going to get your competency in the 3 to 6 months that all of the courts and all of the documentation and all of the things that you might end up reading are going to tell you. So for those who don't know, in 2011, I believe it was, there was a bill passed that made the extended delay, I suppose, of competencies sort of a crime. Like it's a court order that competencies and competency applications had to be considered within 90 days. That was what it initially was. Then at some stage, I'm not 100% sure at which date this occurred, the order basically changed to 6 months. Now, that is peachy pie. Like, I can sort of still accept that if we actually were getting competencies in 6 months. So now I'm basically going to be talking about my personal experiences with my personal DFOs. I have seen a lot of reports, a lot of, reviews and things on Google about how people say their DFOs are the best and blah, 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 blah. That's good for you. You're very lucky. Most people will have a DFO like I have, who they just truly do not give a crap about their job. There is no incentive for them to do their jobs quickly or efficiently or correctly. So yeah, with no repercussions to not doing your job correctly, you just end up with a DFO like I've got, who honestly just couldn't give a crap. So yeah, like interestingly enough, so I went to my local police station the other day. This was about a month ago actually. To go and follow up on a further competency. And so many things happened that caught my eye and my ears that I came to realize incompetency, laziness, uselessness, these are all reasons that your competency is not going to be done even in 6 months, even on the extended time frame. So I get to my local police station and I'm standing outside in a queue for the DFO's office, and I'm second in queue. So there's a person in front of me and there's a person currently in the office. There are 4 DFOs in the office, so I have no idea why only one person can be seen to at a time. That's sort of my first little observation, but it is what it is. So I'm standing in the queue and I'm waiting, and the next guy goes in, like the guy in front of me goes in, no problem. So I'm now next in queue. And by this point, there are 2 people behind me. So we're standing waiting. About 15 minutes later, one of the DFOs comes back from the bathroom and basically walks straight up to number 3 in line and says, how's it, buddy? What you doing standing out here? Come into the office, like, let's get you sorted out, blah, 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 blah. So like, clearly friends get benefits, and like, you know, your chommies will get the better service and things like that. So that is one of the reasons that your competency is going to take longer than it should, is because you could be at the top of the queue and five of the DFO's mates could come in a week later, and all of a sudden your application is number 6 in queue because he's put his homies' applications at the front of the list. So that is pretty much number one. Favoritism is pretty much going to be the first major reason your competency is not going to happen in 6 months. Now, here's the thing that I find quite interesting. Every time I've gone to my DFO and they look through my paperwork and things like that, and they look through my information, they're reminded of the fact that one of my income streams is private catering and private chef. And I can tell you for a fact that every time I've gone to that DFO's office, there has been a remark made about, oh, you must cook for us, it'll help. Oh, you must bring us food. Maybe we can, you know, make this go quicker, blah, 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 blah. So now I must cater to a police station for free, okay, during COVID, to maybe not grease the wheels of my application process. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but requesting a bribe is actually a crime. It is actually a crime for government officials to expedite any process for the exchange of money. Okay, that is pretty much what bribery is to either make something go quicker or to make something disappear, or whatever the case may be, with financial gain or with a gain of sorts. So yeah, like on top of the fact that, you know, you never know when you're going to get your first or next or third or fourth or fifth, whatever competencies you need. Yeah, you also have the nice thought that if you'd bribed the cops 6 months ago when I applied for this further competency, well, more than 6 months now, it's probably closer to 8 or 10 or even coming up on a year now, since I actually applied for that further competency. Yeah, perhaps if I had bribed my DFO, I would have that competency by now. Who's to say, other than, I suppose, the DFO? So I guess you could call that number 2, lack of incentive. So you can potentially, I don't know this for a fact because I refuse to do it. I refuse to bribe someone to do their job. So you could potentially, you know, whisper to your DFO when you're filling in your paperwork and say, hey buddy, if I slip you a little something here, maybe $1,000 or $2, you know, maybe could you speed this process up a little bit? And I think truly, unless you find a real honest one, they'll take your money. I don't know that they're going to speed up the process, but I truly am in the belief in my heart and mind that if I had offered to bribe those officers with the food they were requesting at very least, I believe that competency would be complete by now. I truly believe that there would be a rush put on it. But anyway, so that's number 2, is lack of incentive. Number 3, and this one I think annoys me most of all. So whilst I was standing outside in the queue, I saw one of the DFOs answer a phone call. Now, I do not know what was said on the other end of the phone call. What I do know is that it had to do with checking up on the status of a competency or license. So the person calls the DFO answers the phone and says, how's it, man? Like, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. The person obviously then asks what they're asking. And the DFO responds with, Eish, man, I'm sorry. I'm driving now. Can you call me back in 4 hours' time? And that's not what he said. He said, could you call me back at 3:30, which at that stage was 4 hours away, because he was driving. Yeah, okay, I just let that pause happen there because he's sitting in an office in the middle of the day, because DFOs don't tend to leave the office, and then lied to a tax-paying, I assume, member of society who's paying this guy's salary. Yeah, basically lied to him and put him off for an additional 4 hours. Now, this wouldn't be a problem until my communication with one of the DFOs. So finally, I get called in 42 minutes later, just to get told, oh, you shouldn't stand in the queue if you're just coming to check the status of a license or a competency. So now here's the problem with that. I have had 2 DFOs from my DFO's office reach for their firearms because I walked directly into their office without being beckoned. 2 officers, 2 separate occasions, have reached for their firearm because I did not announce myself and get beckoned into the office. So the idea of me just walking into that office is not something that I'd like to entertain, to be completely honest. It's not, not really in my best interest to get shot while trying to apply for a competency. So yeah, anyway, so I can't just walk in. You have to actually just stand in a queue, because if you do just walk in, your life will be threatened by the police there. And yeah, so I then get in finally after, like I say, 42 minutes of sitting and waiting, and, well, standing and waiting. And yeah, so I get up to the lady. Firstly, there's chairs all up and down the walkway. Why, I don't know, because they only see one person at a time. So there should only be one chair on sort of this side of the desks. But anyway, so get through there, and she screams before I'm even at her. She's like, ID number? And I'm like, okay, I don't know if you're talking to me. I don't know, because you've just screamed across a room. Something that, I'll be honest, I didn't even hear, because I wasn't yet listening. I wasn't yet paying attention to anyone. I was trying to get in and around all the chairs. So I get to the lady, ID number? Okay, cool. So I rattle off my ID number. Also, I don't want to scream my ID number across a police station. So even if I did hear her, I wouldn't have responded until I was, within earshot. But yeah, so then get to her, give her my ID number. Within 2 seconds, no, it's still under consideration. So I'm like, okay, but you guys said 3 months. I then came back after 3 months. You guys then said 6 months. I then came back after 6 months. No, sir, I don't recommend you come back at all. I recommend that you rather phone us, because that's gonna work. I suggest you phone us and check the status of your competency. So I basically called in, let's say 2-3 weeks ago, somewhere around there, giving them an additional 2 months, basically after my 6-month thing. So we're at 8 months. And yeah, basically give a call. I know exactly which officer answered the phone because I recognize their voices by now. And like immediately he says to me, have you received an SMS? And I'm like, no. What SMS? You guys have not once spoken about an SMS in regards to the competency. So you always receive SMSs and things for your licenses. I'm yet to receive SMSs for competencies. So to my knowledge, that SMS notification system is only for your actual license, for the firearm itself. Okay. So anyways, call in, and he basically says, well, if you haven't received an SMS, then it's definitely not done. It's not here. And there's no point in you phoning. There's no point in you coming in. There's no point in you speaking to us ever again until you've received that SMS. Those were his exact words. There is no point speaking to us ever again unless you get that SMS. Like, so now, here's my issue with this. Like, I received a comment on my how to get your firearms license video from a woman. Not going to name names. You can go find the comment if you want. Rattling off all this information about things I got wrong. And at the end of the list, she says, you must either email this email address or you must phone this phone number to have your competency basically expedited in the case that it takes longer than the 3-month legal sort of limit or 6-month expanded legal limit. Okay? I've done all that crap. I've gone on to GOSA. I've done all that nonsense. All these things that people say you can do to pay, you can do this, you can phone there, you can email here. So I could tell you now there's about 6 email addresses that you guys will be told to email. You will not receive a response from a single one of them. I know because I didn't. I know because I've had people on my behalf send emails thinking, you know, maybe I was just like it got lost in transit or something. They've never gotten responses. So using the email systems is a complete waste of your time. It will not help you expedite your competency process. And with the phone numbers, so the phone number that woman, I don't want to defecate anyone, like that woman's phone number leads you to some or other place that gives you absolutely no information whatsoever. In fact, if you phone that number, the first thing that the automated voice tells you is if you are calling to check up on your competency or license, email the address that you will not receive a response from. So, like, there is literally nothing you can do. Now, I'll be honest, there is one more avenue that I'm yet to try. Through GOSA, the Gun Owners of South Africa, who I'm not a huge fan of, you can pay 1,500 Rand because you have to be a member for a year. You have to pay for a membership. And then on top of that, you have to pay them 500 Rand and they will basically follow up on your competency for you. But once again, I am under the impression that even if I pay that 1,500 Rand to GOSA, they will not expedite the process. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. Probably today or tomorrow. I'm going to go onto GOSA's website. I'm going to pay my fees. I'm going to register. I'm going to do all that nonsense. And I'm going to give them 1,500 Rand, which is more than it would cost you to apply for 15 gun licenses. But I'm going to pay them that money just to see and also just to be able to let you guys know if they actually helped. If paying that 1,500 Rand is actually going to help. Because then I can recommend it to you. If it does not help, there will be a video uploaded about how GOSA stole 1,500 Rand from me. Because from what I can see, the services they offer, they just call your DFO. So you're going to get the same answer that I got. They didn't know that I wasn't a GOSA member. They didn't know that I wasn't the head of GOSA. They just immediately laid out the facts that if I haven't received an SMS, my additional competency is not done. So anyways, like I said, I don't believe there's anything you can do. I truly believe that it is just a waiting game. You have to just accept the fact that if you're in danger today, you'll be lucky if you can get your competency in a year's time. And that's just your competency. You then need to apply for the firearms license, which goes right back into the same system and takes the same, if not longer, period of time, because there is no court order to force a 90 or a 180-day limit on the actual firearms licenses. They can take as long as they want with your firearms license. So anyways, with that all being said, it's pretty doom and gloomy for those who don't already have their firearms. Like at this point, we've entered sort of a dark age of of licensing in this country. Like, it's very, very difficult for you to get any form of license in any period of time. I apologize. I've even done additional things like becoming a dedicated sports shooter and all those sort of things, hoping that would affect the outcome or the speed of the competencies and things. It hasn't made any difference whatsoever. So it doesn't matter if you're a competition shooter or you're it's just going to be how it's going to be. But anyway, with all that being said, that is pretty much the end of the video. I've said pretty much everything I want to say. I've told you guys all the little juicy stories about my DFO that there are to tell at this point. But yeah, as always, I hope you've somewhat enjoyed. Maybe this gives you a little bit of insight as to what to expect, or if you're waiting, maybe just put your mind at ease and let you relax a bit, because you're going to be waiting a long time. So yeah, anyways, as always, if you enjoyed, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Smash that like button that we get our recording set up all fixed and sorted out by the next video, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, also if you've got time, maybe check out another video here at the end. Otherwise, that's that. Peace out.